Hello, Rajesh Talele here again. Let's continue our discussions about the triggers in Marketo. There are too many, there are a lot of them, and that gives a very flexible power to Marketo programs. But we have to go one by one. So today, um, we will talk about some of the most used triggers which are not related with email. If you are looking for email related triggers, I already have other videos which talk about the email related triggers. Today we'll go and see another one, a trigger which most of the Marketo installations will have, because most of us have contact us forms or various content download forms and things like that, and we have that's why we have multiple forms and we need to take actions in Marketo when somebody fills that form. So today's trigger we're gonna look into is called fills out form, and all you do is find out fills out form in the right hand side when you're on the smart campaign, and just drag fills out form. Now what that is uh, let's say we have a web form and a landing page with a web form which is powered by Marketo. Somebody comes to that landing page and fills that form giving their information. That information gets submitted to Marketo, gets stored in Marketo database, and but let's say we want to act on it. Let's say we want to send an alert email to somebody that hey, this form was filled, or if we wanted to respond to that person and say hey, thank you for submitting your data, and things like that. If you want to do something like that, or you might want to increase the score or whatnot, and that's where you kind of listen to that trigger. And when you drag it, you will see orange bar fills out form. That means it's a trigger. That means whenever somebody fills out form, immediately this will happen. Now you get to choose which form name is. In Marketo we have something called Marketo forms, and you get to pick which form name, and you can pick one of these which are approved Marketo forms. In Marketo you have to create forms in Marketo and you have to approve it if you are satisfied with what you have designed. Unless you approve it, they won't show up here. So if the form you are wanting to listen to doesn't show up here, that means they are not approved yet, at least the one version. Now let's say I want to say, hey, anybody submits a contact us form, I want to listen to it and do something. So you do that in the trigger, and then you basically create a flow. You can say send an email, or that means it will respond to that person via email, or you can say send alert, and you can send it to somebody internal about some that form fill, and so on and so forth. But let's go back to the trigger again, because that's the topic. Now what if you want to have multiple to listen to multiple forms, and that's when you do that plus sign and you can choose multiple forms. Now this is not an exact example because this is a subscription form, you don't want to treat both of them as equal, but just an example, you can select multiple forms like that. um, and you can remove, add, or anything. So let's say that's how you can do. So you can have one form, you can have multiple forms, or you can even say is any. That means if you want to do when any form is submitted or filled, you want to do something. What kind of actions would you do? Maybe you want to have a dated timestamp when the last form was submitted. So excuse me. So that's how you will do, is that when any form is submitted, you want to do certain action like set up a date timestamp or something. um, if you want to do is not, you want to do anything but the unsubscribe form, but correctly, and that's many times you will want to do that because you want to treat unsubscription forms different than other forms. Other forms indicate some positive action, while unsubscription is actually showing that they are not interested in getting any content from you. So it's basically many times you might use something like that. Or you can say starts with, you can say anything, because you may not have or you might be adding new and new forms, you don't have a hard coded value, you may not, you want to say anything which starts with unsubscribe or something like that. um, something like that. And you can, if you have multiple unsubscription forms with that, you might have something like that. Or you might have a high value forms which will maybe start all with your, based on your naming convention, anything which starts with high might indicate high interest, so you may want to have that. You might want to not starts with, like not starts with unsub, something like that. So you avoid unsubscription forms and act on everything else, and keeping it open for the future forms you might create. So this is a better than selecting named forms at a given time, because next year, next month you might create new forms. As long as you stick to a naming convention, you can write a flexible programming now which will continue to be working in the years and months to come. So content, you can also have contains, not contains, and things like that. So as you see, you can write a trigger which will keep on working today, tomorrow, next month, and even next year, provided you follow naming conventions. When you, how you program your forms and how do you call them, and the names of the forms. Now, but you will say, hey, you know what? I want a special treatment for, let's say, if I want to say, let's say I want to have a special treatment when it's on a specific web page. You know, I have this contact us form. You can use one Marketo form on multiple web pages, and it's actually a desired functionality, or that's the way, recommended way. So you have a globally identified superset of forms which you reuse into multiple web pages. Why? Because that way you standardize your flows, you standardize your data collection, and that, you know, it basically gives the organization to your Marketo program, rather than everybody haphazardly creating their own forms, sometimes asking some fields, sometimes not asking some fields, and can be a mess. So that's why you can standardize your forms and reuse those forms on multiple web pages. And when you select a form, you get a drop down of all the web pages that form is on, and that's kind of the way it basically. And you can get to pick. Let's see if we have unsubscribe. This is our sandbox, so we don't have a lot of data here. But so let's say we have this unsubscription form on is used on or embedded on a Marketo landing page called unsubscribe page. It can be a multiple unsubscribe page. It can be maybe North American unsubscription page, or it can be or European one, or maybe it's for an event, maybe it's for any other purpose. If you have, you can selectively choose the how you want to treat a form field on a given landing page, or a given set of landing, or basically, or if not that page, you want to do a different treatment for any other page than that page, and things like that. So you can do that, but and you can even preview that page right here. If you press that button, it helps if you have a pop-up open. Let's see if it opens. Then you can very well right away even confirm how it looks and all that. And it's a simple one, as I said, it's a sandbox, so you can just look it up and confirm that's the right page you're talking about. Now, what if you want to have though query string? Maybe you give the same page. Let's say you give a contact us page. Or let me. Maybe let's say you want to give contact us form, and the query string is particular. So you might want to, let's say you give the same landing page with a contact us form to multiple partners, or people, or websites, or your own properties driving traffic to that landing page with the form, and forms are getting filled. You want to treat the different incoming query strings or different sources differently. You can also say something like that. Maybe query string is shopping or something, or you can say, or it might be just maybe a road show. You might have a contact us form for a road show, or any specific initiative, something dare to grow, or whatever, whatever your campaign or idea, or whatever the incoming query string can be. And you can also have it query string is not starts with all those very useful operators, and it can be, you can check even whether there's no query string, do something. If it is not empty, do something, things like that. And just before I assume that everybody knows what is query string. Query string is what we see in the URL. When, remember, sometimes you see URL question mark ABC, or name equal to blah blah, and site equal to blah blah, and company equal to blah blah. Those are called query strings, and that's what you check. Those fields get populated behind the scene in Marketo forms, and that's what we are checking here. So you might have different landing pages or different pages directing with different values in the URL to the same page, and that's what we are checking. Maybe you want to check the client IP address. I haven't had too many of this business use of that in the generic, but you can do that if you know. I mean, say for example, I haven't seen too many business implementations doing that, but hey, let's say, oh, you only have one competitor, and you know the IP address range of that competitor, and you don't want them to fill the form or something like that, or you don't want them to send them in a confirmation when they fill the form. If they come from a specific IP address which you know that is your competitors, you just add those IP addresses here and make sure that it is, the IP address is not, and that way your competitors IP addresses, people who submit the form from those IP addresses will not get that alert and on the email and all that. So that's another thing which you can do. Referrer, again the same thing, just like I was telling about. Referrer is one direct way by which you can put what is the referrer referring page which came on this landing page with that form. Kind of query string, but query string is much more granular. You can be referrer is just the landing page as such. Query string can have a partner name and a lot of other things. Browser, what if you want to do, if the browser they are on Chrome browser, you want to send a different email. If they are on the Firefox, you want to do different, and if they are on Microsoft Edge, you want to do different. So you can do that using that also. And last but not the least, these are the main common ones. Is the date of activity. When was that done? And you can kind of do it on or before is not and all that. So you can do based on that activity date, and also number of times. What if you don't want to do each and every time? You want to do, if they have filled that form, this is the third time they're filling the form, maybe for whatever reason, only then you want to act. If they fill till 2 times the same form or whatever, maybe there's application in which you, or a business need in which you need that, you can do something like that. Third and subsequent submissions you want to trigger, but before that you want to not trigger anything flow. And that's kind of, maybe you want to say, hey, they will be serious only if they submit 3 times or more. And that's what you can do as such. So as you see, it's very powerful and can get, gives you ability to do most of the flows, which when it comes to somebody filling a form on your website or in your campaign, and it's enough power, or actually a lot of power, to do a lot of flexible things, to respond to actions, to score, and also to things like unsubscribe, timestamp or whatnot, depending on what kind of form was filled. And that's pretty much it with the filled out form or fills out form as such. So that's pretty much it, and those are the things. If you like this information, please subscribe the channel. I will be adding almost many videos similar like this about Marketo and the practical use of Marketo in my several years of working on Marketo. Pretty much on the daily schedule, if not daily, at least 2-3 times on a week. And I'm sure you would find some value in it. So please do subscribe, and looking forward to generating more and more videos. And if you have any questions, comments, if I did something which you don't agree, please let me know in the comments. And hoping to see you soon in one of the Marketo / Adobe summits now. Take care. Bye.